Part 3 of Sea Witchery. Now, of course, because of the Mermaid's Purse, what you can do is, you can cast with that. Now, there is a great spell. If you have a hagstone, and perhaps a needle and thread, that would be awesome as well. And what you do is you imbue your hagstone with that wish, with the wish of anything you want. You can put sand into this as well, and I'll go into sand in a minute. You can imbue it with some sand, again, that's been imbued with your intention, is what you want. This has to be something that you are trying to birth into the world, you are trying to manifest. It's not going to be the best for sending people away or getting rid of somebody. It tends to be something you want to birth into the world. So for instance, you know, if you want to find a new job, that could be something to sort of birth into this world, a new job for you. Good luck, you know, creating spirits. So you imbue your sand, you imbue the hagstone, and then you sew the purse shut and you throw it into the sea. Now, if the purse does not sink, then it has been rejected by the sea spirits and they will not help you out. If it sinks, it has been accepted by the sea spirits and your wish that you want will happen. Now, sand, I'm not going to get this out because it just gets everywhere, but sand, this is something that can be used if you haven't got anything. You can hold sand, imbue it with your intentions and throw it, cast it into the sea. Not just that, but you can put sigils into the beach. For instance, I don't know anywhere else, but in England we give, when people have like pet birds, we tend to give them like cuttlefish, like dried cuttlefish. And if you find one of these cuttlefish on the beach, this can be used to, carve into the sand sigils and various intentions. And of course, as the tide comes in and washes it out, it washes it away to the spirits of the sea. God, there's so much stuff. Let's talk about seaweed as well. Now, this is dulse, and this was found on the Northern Irish coast. Doesn't smell the best, but seaweed can be used as a charm to hang in the house against fires. So you can hang seaweed up in the house as a protection against any fires. It can also be used for creating rain. So of course we were talking before about rain magic. So you can have a basin of the water, and rather than a broom to flick the seaweed up, rather than a broom to flick the water up, we can have seaweed to flick the water up. That can be something that can be used. Of course, various different seaweeds will have various different purposes and attributes to them. Now, other things such as fishing hooks as well can be used, and these are things that we can find on the beach. So if you find these, they're extremely, extremely sharp. But fishing hooks can be used for a number of things. For love, for snaring somebody in love. They can also be used to, again, trap people, and they can be quite harmful if you want. To dull magic with a fishing hook, boom, you can actually, just as a fish will be caught, you can actually snare that on to the doll's mouth, so that, like a fish, it will be caught. They will be caught and they will be trapped. So a lot of people will use these as love charms, because you can actually go into somebody's house and, quite innocently put them into the couch when they've been charged with your intention. Though just be careful you put them in very deep, because if somebody sits on these, they're not gonna love you. But they're very, very sharp. And these are things that can be used. So fishing equipment, that you find is fantastic. So it's really difficult because I'm trying to cover as much things that I possibly can, and that I know about sea witchery. Yeah, back to sand. Cecil Williamson as well actually had his magic sand that he worked with within rituals. He wasn't very clear about it, but it's not just him. There's other reports of other witches having magic sand that they worked with. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the actual sea spirits themselves and what they are like as spirits. So, they are ruthless. I have failed to meet, well, I've failed to work with a sea spirit that hasn't been this way. The majority of sea spirits I've come across have been very, very blunt, very straight to the point, and very, very alien. And I find the spirits of the earth quite alien. The Fae, I find them quite alien, but not as near alien compared to what the spirits of the sea are like. They strike me as spirits that don't particularly care about humanity. It's almost like a trade. You know, yeah, we'll do that, just give us that. You know, it's very... But this is me personally, and I'm sure there will be some people out there that will disagree, and, you know what? Go for it, disagree all you want, but these are my experiences, and it's not just mine, it's from other people. But again, witchcraft is very subjective, and I understand and appreciate that everybody will have different views, but I do find sea spirits very, very ruthless, and even, you know, if you think about it, the tide unfortunately takes people out all the time. There are quite a few deaths where the tide has actually unfortunately taken out children, you know, washed people out from shore. Sea spirits are ruthless. They honestly do not care. However, if you do a little trade-off with them, then they'll care. So, as an example as to how sea spirits don't particularly care, one of my, I'll grab this as well, one of my good friends, he's Tradwitch on YouTube as well. He was working sea magic and had his pricking tool at his antler and was working the sea. And looked down and actually, you know, thought, oh, where's my antler gone? And just heard from the sea spirits, we took it. And he was like, oh, but it's my antler. What? And it was like, well, we want it. We wanted it. And he was like, and they're like, what? Did you wanted this, you got it, so we want that. That's ours. Tough. And it, you know, it was very, we was both chuckling about it, and he's a fantastic witch as well. Really check out his channel, it's called Tradwitch. But we laugh about it, but it is funny. It's just a good example of how the sea spirits really don't give a shit, you know. If they want something, they're going to have it. And that is their approach to things. Well, at least all the sea spirits I have worked with. Another thing is, what offerings would sea spirits like? It can be anything. In Scotland, sailors before undertaking any journeys and voyages by sea would pour whiskey as a good luck offering. So if you think about it, if you're doing a spell for good luck, that would be the perfect offering to pour, because of course you're empowering that spell. Not only that, I mean, there are also stuff from the land, such as flowers, ale, cider, bread, cakes, anything like that, anything from the land. If you can make it yourself as well, that's awesome. Mead, let's have a look. Yeah, fruits, vegetables as well, but, you know, butter, you know, stuff like that. I'm not, by the way, promoting that everyone pollutes the sea, but these are some offerings. Flowers, I'm sure, would be okay. But, you know, these are offerings that people would pour. Milk, blood. So, yeah. Another thing I was going to say as well is that in regards to the sea and the waves, there is a lot of mythology in regards to the ninth wave. Now, this is the ninth wave that well, after a massive wave, after a high wave that comes, you have to wait 9 times until that 9th wave comes. That 9th wave has a lot of power in it and a lot of healing power in it. Again, that old folk charm I was talking about, where somebody immersed themselves into the water and it washed over them. That's a good example of the folklore of the 9th wave, and in Celtic mythology the 9th wave plays a part. So of course you can work that, you can grab and you can collect some. Not only that, but if you have a request, it would be great to, of course, you know, wait for a massive wave, wait for another wave, you know, not wait for the 8th wave. Then when the 9th wave approaches, you plunge your hand into the 9th wave, giving it, charging it with your intent, and it will wash out. And of course, that 9th wave will carry forth your spell. And that's something you can do after any spell. Now, I think I'm near enough done. The only thing is now, a lot of people say that to be a sea witch, you don't have to necessarily practice by the sea. You can work by a river, you can work by lakes, you can work by quays, you can, if a push, you can work with your bathtub. If a real big push, you can have, you know, water and salt on your altar and, rhymes, sorry, salt and water on your altar and work with that. And you will be classed as a sea witch. I live by a quay, I live by a mariner's quay, and I would not class myself as a sea witch because there isn't a beach. You know, to be a sea witch, your place of working needs to be by the beach, by the sea. I'm not a sea witch. You know, I work by a quay, and sometimes I work on the quay. But I wouldn't call myself necessarily a sea witch. I do think though, if you are to work sea magic, then actually working with water magic in general, so that could be wells, you know, it could, you know, very well be lakes and rivers. I do think that will help. I think that will highly help, just to attune yourself to the, I'm going to sound really new age, to the energies of water, to the power of water, and actually doing doing water magic would help you in your training to, not training, but you know, in the run, if you're going to do some sea magic, maybe perhaps working with water on a basic level before would be a good idea, just to attune yourself more with the current and power and flow that water contains. There we are, said it. So yeah, I mean, of course everybody has their own opinion on that. However, I just don't see, you know, I'd like to be a sea witch, of course. If I lived by the beach, yeah, I'd be there every day. Not only like, you know, sunbathing, but, you know, also witchery by night. Perfect combo. I love beaches as well. So, yeah, I think I've covered everything. This is part 3 of Sea Witchery. So yes, enjoy it. I hope you guys liked it. You know, leave a comment, like the video, share it, put it on my Facebook wall. As I said, I think I've included everything, but there will be some stuff I know that I haven't included. I know that because there is a lot of stuff. So I'm just trying to chuck some ideas out there for anybody who is interested in Sea Witchery. So yeah. Over and out.